Boys, it is officially my favorite time of the year. March Madness is upon us. I had to put the NFL free agency video that is taking me weeks to put together on hold so I can make this video. Now, normally I dive like really deep into each matchup, but I don't really have time to do that this year. So instead, we're gonna take a look at all the first round matchups, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts and my perspective and who I'm gonna take. And also, guys, it is completely free to enter into my ESPN group, and the winner gets $100. So there's no reason not to enter. Top link in the description. You get a one entry, and yeah, so go over there and enter and win a chance at $100, okay? Do it! Alright guys, we're going to start in the East region. I'm not going to waste your time. Obviously, Duke's going through again. We're only going to look at the round of 64. I'll make a separate video for the round of 32 that's a little bit more in depth. But I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm back home. I'm spending time with my dogs, you know, my family. But I still wanted to get this video out for you guys. All right, up next we have VCU versus UCF. I'm going to take UCF because of one player. His name is Taco Fall. He's about 7'7". He's an absolute beast. So, Taco Fall, do not let me down, because if you don't play well, you're not beating VCU. Then we have Mississippi State versus Liberty. I've actually gone with the upset here. I don't know why, but I feel like one of the SEC teams is going to, you know, stumble a little bit. And with the 5-12 matchup, you got to pick at least one or two. So I am going to go with Liberty here. I don't know much about Liberty other than they won their conference, and I'm hoping they can get me results. Then we have Virginia Tech versus St. Louis. I'm going to go Virginia Tech. Their point guard, who I can't remember his name, he's coming back, so that's good. Virginia Tech's a really good defensive team, so they should be able to take care of business against St. Louis. Then we have Maryland versus the winner of Belmont versus Temple. Game's tough because there's a part of me that wants to go Maryland, but there's another part of me that really likes Belmont. The thing is, though, Belmont doesn't play till tonight, so if I take Belmont and they lose, I'm going to look like an idiot, but I'm still going to take Belmont and hope that, you know, if Belmont can't beat Maryland, then hopefully Tennessee can. A lot of times you do see, like, one of these playing teams that are able to, you know, make a little bit of a run at it. I'm not saying, you know, Temple or Belmont's going to do anything, but I do like them over Maryland. Again, I haven't watched much of the Big Ten this year, but I know, you know, obviously Michigan State, Purdue. So, all right, up next, we got LSU versus Yale. There's a lot of people that are looking at this game as a potential upset just because LSU's without their coach. But I just think there's too much talent. You know, LSU went out early in the SEC tournament, and I think they're going to turn things around and hopefully take care of business for some very good Yale team. Up next, we have Louisville versus Minnesota. Obviously, the whole Rick Pitino, old school versus, you know, his son, and all that is going to be really, really good. But I am going to go with Minnesota here. I don't know why. I watched Louisville play earlier in the year, and they're a good team. But I like what Minnesota's been doing of late. They've been a really, really good team. So I'm going to take Minnesota again. Hopefully they can get the result that we're looking for. Then we have Michigan State versus Bradley. There's like a little part of me that's Michigan State loses this game. I know Michigan State's been banged up, and they just came off of, you know, winning the Big Ten tournament and getting absolutely screwed, getting put in this region after, you know, beating Michigan. Obviously, I'm going to take Michigan State. You know, the last time we saw a 2-seed lose, I believe, was Michigan State, so you never know, but I am going to go with Michigan State here. Up next, we're going to go down to the West. Now, fun fact, guys, I'm really, really, really hoping, if the Twitch streams go well and everything works out, I'm really hoping to go to the round of 16 in the Elite 8 games, because they're going to be in Anaheim, which is, you know, maybe like a 6-hour drive for me, so fingers crossed, and hopefully Mbone can do that. All right, up first, we got Gonzaga versus two teams that I should know the name of those teams, but I don't. I'm sorry, no disrespect. Then we have Syracuse versus Baylor. The 8-9 is literally, if you look at it, it's split 50-50. Like, you take 2 8s, take 2 9s. It doesn't really matter, but you have to, like, split it up. I am going to go with Syracuse here. Jim Boeheim is an incredible coach, and I think he's going to get the result. And Syracuse just always seems to do well in the tournaments. Up next, we have Marquette versus Murray State. Now, I'm going to be a bit biased here because you guys know me, man. I love Murray State. I love everything about Ja Morant. There's only one issue about Marquette, and that is the fact that Marcus Howard plays for them, who is arguably one of the best players in the entire country. So even though Murray State has Ja Morant, who's probably going to go top 3 in the draft, Marquette has, you know, Marcus Howard, which is going to be really, really difficult. I am going to lean with Murray State here and hope that they can get the upset. Again, a little bit of this is biased because I really like Murray State and I love Ja Morant as a player. I'm hoping he can go to the Bulls, but I am going to lean with Murray State. Up next, we have Florida State versus Vermont. Now, if you guys have seen Florida State's been playing incredible, so I'm going to roll Florida State here. I know Vermont's actually a decent team, and they were one of the teams because I wrote down a bunch of notes in Google Docs, you know, during the mid-major tournaments, and like were teams I thought were decent and stuff like that. And Vermont was a team I was like, I was like, you know, if they get a favorable matchup, I could roll with them. Florida State is just too, like, they have so many players that are NBA ready, and they have, like, they're just too solid of a team for a team like Vermont to take down. So I'm going to roll with them. Up next, we have the play-in game between Arizona State and St. John's, and then we have versus Buffalo. Now, I wasn't that high on Buffalo because I haven't really seen them play this year, but I've been watching a lot of, like, you know, the ESPN bracket challenge and, like, the marathon that they've been doing. So I just want to say I'm going to go with Buffalo here. You know, Buffalo took down, who did Buffalo beat last year? I think it was Arizona. I could be wrong there, but I believe it was Arizona they beat last year. So they have some experience in the tournament. They had a really, really good year, and I'm going to roll with Buffalo. If Buffalo does lose this game, I solely blame everybody at ESPN because they all love Buffalo. So I'm going to take Buffalo there. Up next, we have Northern Kentucky versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech's going to win that game. I think Texas Tech could be a sleeper. They have Jared Culver, who's one of the best players in the entire country. They're a really good defensive team. If they can shoot the ball well, then Tech could definitely make another run at it. Up next, we have Nevada versus Florida. Now, this has been one of the toughest games for me to pick just because Nevada beat Texas last year, and they have the two twins who are awesome. But at the same time, Florida's in the SEC, and I really like the SEC. So I've been going back and forth. I'm leaning towards Nevada right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with that, but I am going to take Nevada as of right now. It's so weird seeing Nevada as a higher seed over Florida, but hey. Then we have Michigan versus Montana. Michigan should be able to get the job done. Hopefully they'll beat Montana, but you never know. It's March Madness. As we scroll up to the south, we have Virginia versus Gardner-Webb. I don't think UMBC, you know, part 2 is going to take part here. I think Virginia is going to take care of business, especially after losing in the first round. They definitely don't want to do that again. Then we have Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. I am going to lean with Ole Miss here. Again, I just think the SEC is stronger than the Big 12 this year. I've been looking at the bracket in a very, like, you know, conference-oriented type of way. Like, you know, I like the Big 10, I like the ACC, and I like the SEC. I'm not a huge fan of the Big 12, and I don't like the Pac-12. So I've kind of been making my picks off of that. We'll see how it goes. But I am going to take Ole Miss here, and then we're going to go down to Wisconsin versus Oregon. Now, a lot of people like this 5-12 matchup just because Oregon has been so hot. But I think Wisconsin's going to come out and win this game. Again, the Pac-12 just doesn't impress me, and I think Wisconsin's a decent team that just didn't play very well towards the end of things. So I'm going to take Wisconsin here and hope that they can, you know, prove me right. Also, both my parents went to Wisconsin, so I feel like it's only right if I take the Badgers. Now, one of the big upset polls that a lot of people are picking right now is, you know, Kansas State and UC Irvine. I do like UC Irvine. I think a lot of Kansas State comes down to if Dean Wade plays. As of right now, I believe he's expected not to play, so I am going to take UC Irvine. Again, K-State had a really, really good year in the Big 12, but again, the Big 12 just doesn't really impress me this year, and that is coming from a Longhorn fan. So I'm going to go with UC Irvine and hope they can pull off the upset. You know, you got to pick some upsets or it's, you know, you have no chance. Then we have Villanova versus St. Mary's. St. Mary's, obviously, what they did to Gonzaga was incredible, but I like Villanova. You know, it's Villanova. It's tough to pick against Villanova in the tournament, even if St. Mary's is one of the hottest teams in the entire country. Then we have Purdue versus Old Dominion. Now, this is my big upset. I don't know why, because I always have Purdue going far and they piss me off and they let me down, but I'm actually taking Old Dominion here. I don't really have a reason behind it because a lot of times when you try to look for a reason, it just makes you want to back away from that pick, but I'm going to go with Old Dominion. I don't know why, but we're going to roll with Old Dominion. That's one of my big upsets I'm hoping I can, you know, secure. Then we have Cincinnati versus Iowa. Another tough game, but I do like Cincinnati. They're coming off their conference championship win against Houston. I'm going to roll with Cincinnati here. Finally, we have Tennessee. I do believe Tennessee has all the tools to make a run at the national championship. Again, they lost in the finals of their conference tournament to an Auburn team that was just playing out of their mind. Obviously, I'm going with North Carolina. You know, big surprise there. Then we have Utah State versus Washington. It's crazy how Washington was the 1 seed in the Pac-12. Like, that just kind of puts things in perspective. But I'm going to roll with Utah State here. Again, not a fan of the Pac-12. Then we have Auburn versus New Mexico State. There was a part of me that wants to pick this upset just because everyone is so high on Auburn. And I feel like there's a chance that if Auburn does not come out well, you know, New Mexico State knows that Auburn's, you know, playing out of their mind. They had a crazy conference tournament run. So they're going to have to come out prepared. I'm going to lean with Auburn here, even though I do want to go with New Mexico State. Then we have Kansas versus Northwestern. Now, dude, just because it's the Jayhawks does not mean you're going to automatically win this game. This Kansas team is not the same Kansas team that we've seen in previous years. I am going to still roll with Kansas, but I think Northeastern will give them a game. Then we have Iowa State versus Ohio State. But I do like Ohio State here. There's a lot of people that don't believe Ohio State deserves to be in the tournament. You see that a lot. I mean, with the Syracuse team, I think that was either a year or 2 years ago, where the Syracuse team was not supposed to be in the tournament. They had no business being in the tournament, yet they went on a little bit of a run. I don't like, picking against Iowa State, but these Big 12 teams a lot of times lose early on, and I'm hoping the same happens with Iowa State. There's a very good chance Iowa State's going to blow Ohio State out, but I need to pick some upsets, so I am going to go with Ohio State here. Then we have Houston versus Georgia State. I don't think Houston's going to have any trouble with Georgia State. We're going to move Houston along. Next up is Watford versus Seton Hall. A lot of people like Watford, but I'm going to roll with Seton Hall here. I watched Seton Hall play a couple weeks ago, and I was actually really, really impressed. So I'm going to take Seton Hall to knock off Watford. And finally, we do have, let me just move Kentucky. Finally, we're going to move Kentucky ahead. So that is going to do it for our first round matchups, the round of 64. Again, I didn't really give you much in-depth why I took each team. I just haven't really had the time, and I do apologize about that. For the second round matchups, I will make sure to dive in and, give a little bit more detail, because there's a lot less, there's half as less games as there are in the round of 64. But again, guys, right now on the screen, you're going to see the tournament challenge group that I've created. The winner of this does get $100, and it is completely free to enter. You don't have to be a sub. You don't have to do anything. Literally anybody can join. All you need to do is click on the link and get yourself involved. So it's going to be top line in the description. Make sure you guys do get yourself entered. Put in like a name or something that I can find you by. If not, just make sure you have an email address that I can get a hold of you if you do win. I do apologize about, it's not very in-depth, and it's kind of just my matchups and the picks that I make, and, why I took each team, even though there's not much reasoning behind it. But guys, that's March for you. Thank you. It has been your boy MboneHD. Make sure you guys do get yourself entered in the group. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Playing continues to play well. Last night had 20 points.
With the flex coming back up court after exploding to the rim.